Greetings, Dapplings, and welcome back to the next episode of Humankind, where we are greeted by the recovering city. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful city one day, but the recovering city of not Hattusa. No. This is the city of Eelstar. Thank you very much for being a patron supporter, Eelstar. There you go. Welcome to, well, I guess the Empire now, I suppose. Right, but with that done, that a very important task that I missed at the end of the last episode, it is time to take stock of our current situation. Presently, we've got 4 turns on researching feudalism. We've got 21 turns until we can afford a new civic. There are still actually 2 civics that we are able to pass a decision on, so we may or may not wait until we've got even more choice, because I'm not really feeling it super much regarding the 2 civics that we currently have, and we're not that far off. We're only another 2 follows off from being able to choose our next tenant. Now, we can see that we are only on tier 1, the Nubians are at tier 2, and wow, the Harappan's polytheism is at tier 3. That is actually kind of crazy. Plus 5 stability on garrison and some extra combat strength. Okay, and they have also taken mandate patronage. Plus 2 money per number of trade routes on city or outpost. That is actually a really, really good one. It's a bit of a shame that one's already gone. But it's quite far away from where we would be getting to, regardless. All right, time for us to have a quick gander. You know what? Our troops can take some time to themselves and heal up a little bit. Population gain at Manu. Very well, and that's the only one that has had a population gain. The remaining forces that were in our lands have now skedaddled because they don't want to continue to lose health, which is fair, I suppose. And we are going to make our way as quickly as we can down in this direction to try and scout out. Ooh, okay, so we've got a little bit of something over yonder that I'd very much like to know about. But in the next turn, we're going to head on down here. Then from there, carry on down. I think we need some more ships out in the waters, though. We need to do a little bit more exploration wherever possible. Eelstar has now crested the point where we can pretty much build whatever we want, which is fantastic news for us. Very low amount of industry going on here. A very, very low amount of industry indeed. How's Darthraptor doing? Manu's doing much the same. Manu is focusing on money, whereas Darthraptor is focusing on science. Well, Manu's focusing on industry, money, then science. But Darthraptor is going to be our scientific hub, and so he's focusing on science, then industry, then money. Let's have a look at Eelstar. Let's have a proper glance at what you're set up to have. We've got a bit of a spread. We've got 2 economic districts here. A third one down here. Perhaps we should focus on money first then. I think following that we will focus on industry. But with that done, and knowing that I just said we're going to be focusing on money, we are actually going to place down our emblematic districts where we can. Let's turn that off for now. And the next then will be down here. I'm always going to try and get these out the door as fast as possible, simply because it's going to allow us to move to the next area as quickly as we want, as we're able, because that's really the main thing that holds me back, is not wanting to waste the potential of building emblematic districts. Next, we've also got Darthraptor, which I believe just finished. Yes, there we are. We just finished on a agricultural district. Well, given that, let's go ahead and continue to focus in on science. Pop down another science district. That being said, however, we will then place down another 2 districts to make a little bit of extra cash over here. I think that's going to be a big help, because all of that is going to synergize with the harbour that we've got. That being said, we have got a couple of districts that we could actually work on down here. So how about money on market quarters? Well, not that one just yet. We'll take you, slide you up there. I think then we're going to grab an industry, slide that one in. Then we'll spread those ones out and finish it off with another industry. For the time being, following a war, I would like to really try and focus on building up our districts and indeed our infrastructure as well where possible. Manu's got 2 turns at the moment on a science district, which I would very much like to see up and running. Army lost at sea warning. Okay, well, we've got a lot of things going down right now, so let's see that. Cultural conversion started. Yes, many of our areas are going to be at risk of switching over to the English, unfortunately. We do need to try and push them back. Now, the main way that we're going to achieve that is by increasing the amount of influence that we're generating, or by subjugating other empires to turn their influence production into our influence production. Shen is, although in second place, quite a contender right now. Quite a contender. They definitely feel like the person to beat for us at the moment. Right, we have got a new cultural osmosis. Knowledge of from the authorities. Foreign innovation. +1 science per number of trade routes on city or outpost. Which is this one replacing? Okay, let's have a quick look. We are going with Elder's Wisdom. No, I prefer what we've got right now, so we're probably going to say no to this one. We're going to refuse, and it is going to take a stability hit, but that's just the way it's going to have to be there. Army lost at sea. That is probably you. In fact, you're the only one that we have at sea, so let's get you out of there and shimmy on down. But we can clearly see a coastline over there, and one that we should be able to relatively easily hit, I would imagine. This is our next destination. Population lost. Darth Raptor has lost 1 population due to low growth. That's something we're going to need to look into. The English triggered a migration. They're using their main ability. This is something I really just don't do very often, and I should.
Someone to lift my spirits.
You've got a different voice. Now, there is almost no way that I'm going to build war support here. Almost no way. Unless I start making some demands. But let's go and have a look at Darth Raptor. What is the problem here? I don't exactly see why Darth Raptor would be having any trouble with its population, nor for Manu. What about Eelstar? No, I don't see any particular reason why we're losing populations there. But we have, it seems, gained enough followers to move on to the next tier. Or not, perhaps? Let's double check that. You've gained enough followers. Okay, well. 63 of... That doesn't look right. What's happened here? Can we actually say? I guess we can. It seems a little bit odd. Perhaps the next turn we'll gain enough followers. Alright, but we've got a couple of options. +5 food on harbour, +1 maximum holy site, yield to none, +10 war support on grievance trigger on relations. Now, that would only give us war support when the grievance is triggered, not an ongoing amount. Undertake pilgrimage, -25% cost when enacting civics on Empire, or cancelling them for that matter. Now that one is kind of tempting. We can't get bear not false witness, as that one's already gone. But we can have give arms, +5 money on market quarter. We are more likely to build multiple market quarters per district than harbours. You can only literally have 1 harbour, so it's the amount of separate districts you have. Or this one. The cost of undertaking civics is actually starting to get a bit nasty, so I'm thinking that we are going to undertake pilgrimages. Now, at this point, we can choose a new holy site visual. Now, it won't affect the holy sites that already exist, which is really nice. As a consequence, you can have quite a spread of different holy sites across your empire throughout the ages. I quite like the Taoism holy site, so we're going to go with that one. And choose Tenet. There we go. Now that will have dramatically decreased the cost there. I'm very happy with that, in fact. Very happy indeed. Now with that done, we should be able to go ahead and slide a new holy site in over here. Now where we would want this holy site... That's a good question. Well, since... Let's have a look around for somewhere that isn't going to be too out of the way, but does have some nice vistas, I think, for this one. Actually, let's have a holy site over here. I think that's going to be gorgeous. There we go. We'll slide that one in right at the top there. Perfect. All right, with that, you can continue to hold this position for the time being. We do need to get our units upgraded, because I do feel that a war with Shen is not that far away, and if not a war with Shen, then the war with Cringer. Shen has quite a few territories that I wouldn't mind taking, though. These two, in particular, possibly even these three, would be nice for us to take, as that would also open the way then to take Nok and Hurikanga, as we realistically need border connections to be able to claim a territory in a war. But if we did manage to take those three, Shen wouldn't lose any cities, but would lose territory quite aggressively, and that's something I would very, very much like to do. I very much would like to curb the amount of resources they have, and this would take two quite nice resources away from them. Let's have a quick gander. Are there any other particular uses to these lands? Not really. Well, there's a holy site over there, so taking one of Shen's holy sites would actually be quite nice as well. Now, on that note, let's have a look at the overall the overall kind of standing of our alliance. They're condescending right now. They're stronger because their war support is much higher than ours. We depend on access to their resources, and they depend on access to our resources, but they're not stronger based on units at the moment. That being said, though, I would say they are stronger in that regard. They have longbowmen and great swordsmen, and it looks like that's a pretty common thing for them. They've got a couple of other units dotted around. We have more units overall, though they do have some nicer ships, but I think if we could press a war with our current forces, bearing in mind we've got 3 5-stacks at the moment that are reasonably well fortified. They've got a good spread of units. I think this could be a powerful push if we wanted it to be. But yeah, I think we're going to have to sit on the potential of a war for a little while. We definitely want to pass a couple of turns, make sure things are moving forward.
Your biggest worry may be where all the workers will eat and sleep.
That's fine. We've got loads of farmers' quarters. Not a problem. Not a problem. You can go ahead and pass a turn there. All right, let's get our units out and about. And now that you're over here, you can fortify there as well. There we go. Now, at this point, we could actually reach over to that landmass. And I think we will, actually, next turn. I think that'll be pretty good.
If a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, with 5 research quarters, this city is not dangerous in the least.
Well, Oh, because it's got more than a little. That's very specific. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Well, I mean, you could take that in either direction, you know? I've never really thought twice about that phrase. I've always assumed that a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Kind of leads into, you know, the whole power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. Little knowledge is dangerous. A lot of knowledge is super dangerous. But no, it's specifically saying knowing just a little bit about something, just enough to make you confident that you know a lot, is the dangerous part. Very clever. I've never actually thought about that saying. Okay, well, I will bear that in mind. One of the Science Era stars earned. Very nice indeed. Culture chosen. The Huns have reached the medieval era as the Aztecs. Okay. Army lost at sea. That's going to be fine. We'll take care of that in a moment. The Aztecs' attitude has changed.
A delight to see you again.
They're still hate-filled. But how? Their trust is improving, and their strength is comparable. I don't like that at all. I would very much like it if that wasn't the case. But let's check out what's over here. We might actually be able to get over there in a turn. We'll see. But it does feel like this is an entire continent. This may be the new world. But because if we look over here, we can see a coastline. So unless that's some sort of landlocked sea, a big lake, I think this may be an entirely unvisited continent, and that is going to be a huge thing for us if we can get a city over there. That being said, we don't really want to spread out too much. It's a little bit 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really, on that score. Now, as for our research presently, getting a little bit more money or rather allowing us to trade a little bit better, is obviously quite nice. We could also get a +1 city cap. That would also be nice. But really, I think the goal for us right now has to be to go through war summons, which would give us the pikeman, the crossbowman, and finally the great swordsman. We do need the great swordsman, I feel, as they're a significantly more powerful unit than the Gasati. Okay. Plus, this will allow us to have larger army stacks, which is quite a nice enhancement as well. Great Fish Market, 5 on naval trade route, +4 money on harbour. Now, that one isn't actually too bad at all, and would also give us access to the cog. There are a couple of things that we can go for, but I feel that we need to start at least thinking about the next one. Make preparations for it at the very least, even though our focus is, of course, going to be on trying to expand our districts and just flesh things out.
Is a nice start to a healthy bank account and visits from previously unheard of relatives.
Ah, the unheard of relatives, of course. Wow, that road has got quite a lot of traffic on there. It doesn't seem that the people on the roads care at all about the Cursor of Damocles. The animals on the plains, though, they still care. And occasionally the people in the cities as well, yes. But the traders, no, they got work to do. They haven't got time to worry about a mysterious floating cursor. Population gain. Eelstar's population has gone up. Very nice to see. An osmosis event. Drat. We're going to refuse this one too, but this is going to start stacking nastily soon. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate, actually. Aztecs ended their treaty. They downgraded our treaty to only trade... Oh, forbidding new trade. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. The Maya now feel differently about us. Let's go and have a look at that. Pleasant. Okay. Nice. I'm glad about that. But... this...
And you are here because...
This is a bit of an issue. Also, we got a very different voice set all of a sudden. That has kind of thrown me a little bit. Not really sure why that's happening, but sure. The Sands of Time. Recently, travelling across an antique desert land in the hinterlands of your empire, you came across a curious sight. 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone, beside which lied a shattered visage. And on the pedestal these words, "Look on my works and despair. Know ye mighty?" Oh, man. Nothing beside remains. The image still haunts you to this day. Whoever raised this civilization is now forgotten. Any and all of their achievements gone. Even their name lost to the winds. Today, you reign supreme, the most famed leader in the world, and yet, will you still be remembered in a century, a millennium, an eon? How best to find immortality? Preach, our numbers must swell, for it is through my people I will find immortality. So more food, right? The Empire's greatest poets, playwrights, dramatists, and more will pen 1,000 tales to be retold through the ages. Patriotic? I mean, this wouldn't be bad just before we were going to go to war, but we're quite far from that. Or venerate. All things are in the hands of higher powers. We will strengthen our faith so they might secure our heritage. +50 faith on districts for 10 turns. Well, I mean, that would have been great if it weren't for the fact that we were about to finish the holy site. Or already had, actually. So we'll go with preach for now. There we go. Be happy, my people, and multiply. Right, 1 idle army. With this army, let's poke our faces around the area, just see what we can see. Getting across there might actually be a little bit difficult. I think on the next turn we will make an attempt for it, though. We'll see. There we go. Now, we do have Eelstar, which is ready for a new district. We have finished adding in the emblematic districts, which is quite nice. Now, we don't need to increase our stability. We're fairly good as is. Do we not have any harbours? It doesn't look like we do. Well, let's fix that then. Is there a better one down? Oh, wow. There is a very good one down there, actually. Likewise down here, but... I feel this one has the potential of, well, I suppose both of these will have the same amount of districts nearby. This one, however, might at some point, should we take this territory, connect us a little bit better? That's an interesting question. This one right here will have 3 districts, but we can't actually build anything there. This one would have 2, potentially. This one would have 2 as well. This one would have more. So even though we'd get less food, I feel placing it here so that we can maximize the amount of income from market quarters is a better move. So we'll place one down there, and then we're going to place another. Can we select it? There we go. Right up here, and we're absolutely going to place it here. I know, again, we could get better food there, but I'm planning more for making use of market quarters around here. At least 2 down here. Having one there, I'd literally only have 1 market quarter, which really wouldn't be good enough for me. Okay, Builder Star earned. Fantastic news. Let's have a quick look. That brings us up to the 2nd tier of Builder Star. We need a mere 13 more to take us up to the 3rd tier. And that'll give us 280 fame. We are still a fair ways behind our peers, however, which is... Well, that being said, we're actually closing the gap between first place a lot faster than I was expecting. A lot faster. We only need a couple more pops to get the Agrarian Star. We're going to need probably 1 war to get the Militarist Star. Well, the research is a little bit far away. I need to get Darth Raptor building even more science quarters. Money, well, that'll come on its own if it comes at all. But the Builder Star will happen pretty quickly. With that said, news from the borders.
Yes, friend. Say what you wish. I will listen.
I don't need any of your resources right now. Whereas you might benefit greatly from mine. I'm going to refuse this offer.
I am angry, and this does little to appease me.
They've already forgiven the grievance.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, that's a fair question. Might want to be super clear that that wasn't an indirect, we're now at war. Because it could have been, you never know. Right, okay. We've got a few districts. We've actually finally got a science district over here. But I think it's time for us to drop in a couple of bonuses to money. And then place down... Oh, wow, this is going to be fantastic. Let's go all in on the money making here. This is going to greatly increase the prosperity of that harbour. This is going to be the primary harbour for our entire empire. Which isn't always the case, that it would be next to the capital. You'd think it would be, but some of the best trading ports in Britain, for example, are nowhere near London. That being said, London's ports are very different now. But throughout the ages, it hasn't always been the case that London was the economic centre of Britain. Certainly, there have been times when other districts were significantly more profitable, quite often, under not English rule at the time. Funny that. Nevertheless, all right, let's get our ship out there and just have a little bit of a scout around. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue for us moving around, but shouldn't be too much of a problem for us to navigate about. Let's have a proper peek down here. We can see exactly what they have available to them. The fact that they have so much lead and mercury, and they've just shut down our trading, that doesn't make me very happy with them. I would very much like those resources to be mine, if I'm perfectly honest, and perhaps I'm going to have to make them mine. So with that said, let's start moving our troops into position. I know, we've only just got out of one war. Are we really that eager to go into another? But the answer is actually kind of yeah. Yeah, we are. Though getting in there is going to be a problem, so you're going to have to head up here. And you can head on down. We will hop over to this island. Hopefully we'll get some proper scouting out done with our ships before we begin the war. Ideally, this would be a one-turn war. Just basically to finish off the job that we started so long ago. But once we've actually vassalized them, then gaining access to all of their resources, and more importantly, all of their influence production would be very nice, because at the end of the day, Fitz is still in 4th place. Fitz is still a reasonable concern in the global stage, or on the global stage. Now let's get ourselves down here. Resource sold. Dying was purchased. Very well. Right, now that you're here, let's get right down to the edge and just scout along those borders. think that would be the best thing for us to do, all things told. And there we go. Our ships are almost in the water. We'll get our ships down there. That'll give us a good 4 turns. You can station for now. You are still on your way. So at least 3 turns away. Osmosis event. War summons research. Fantastic. The innovation of a call to arms allows different parts of society to train independently during times of peace, leading to a bigger range of military units. Let's have a look at this osmosis event once again. Now, this one is an interesting one. We're currently +3 faith on territory, but +5 influence on main plaza. Now, this one would benefit cities more than anywhere else. Whereas we've got more territories than we have cities, as you can obviously tell. This being our main plaza there. Yeah, I think we're going to avoid that one. I'm going to refuse it again. It does get rather expensive to keep doing this, but we will refuse. And if we have a look then in on Darth Raptor, it's painful, but they will start wearing out soon enough. We're going to use Procession, as that's going to tend us a little higher. Right, Eel Star. What are we going to work on here? Let's have a look. Not bringing in a lot of food. I feel that we could definitely work a little bit better on that, but we have drastically improved our fishing and harbouring, so let's get some money and fishing going on there. Following that, do we have a lot of potential food here? I think getting a little bit more going would be better. Over here, for example, we can expand out to 16 extra food. And then is there 17 there? Sure. If we go for this tile, we'll lose 3 industry, but we will build up these areas. However, sadly, I am going to be replacing them. That one in particular, we're going to be replacing. That will also synergize here, and then we'll get another market right down there. What we're going to do with this tile, I'm tempted to place down a market as well, but that is 8 food because it's a river. And it's always one of these problems. That being said, so is this one ultimately. Let's remove that then. It might just be better for us to build up what we have. With this there, it is going to develop that one into a food area. So maybe we'll keep that. Let's have a look. I think that's enough districts in one go for a city to be working on. My lord, we've built this one up though. Look at that. That is fantastic. 12 gold coming in on that harbour. Awesome, awesome news. Let's place down another science district. Followed by yet another science district. And finally, another science district down there. There we are. That'll work wonders, I feel. How's Manu doing? Manu's still building up its market quarters. It's going to be a few turns while it's doing that, but it should be okay. Now, in terms of our agrarian stars, we're actually very close. We only need 4 more population increases and we're done. Right, as for our ship here, let's start following the coastline. Now, this is going to cost me more turn units because of these reefs. Well, I mean, it's coastal water. Yeah, reefs, there we are. That will make it a little bit harder to move around, but we should be able to get down there and hit this city relatively easily. And they haven't further expanded out their cities, which is a big help for us. There we go. Manu's gained a population. Fantastically. Actually, 2 of them probably gained a population there. Yes, they did. So that brings us even closer. Just 2 population increases away. And finally, our other force of warriors are in position. Okay, well, I can't imagine
make your acquaintance again.
You've done much. Yeah, we're very far away from being able to declare a regular war. If you absolutely must have a war, so be it. You will incur a war support penalty, and other empires will call you a traitor. The Traitor Badge, while having this badge, its owner gains some war support when destroying an enemy district, based on the level of the badge. I wonder how quickly that badge declines, however. This may be a rather damaging move to make. Still, we do want this war. The other way I can force it is I could make some rather egregious demands. For example, I can tell them to share maps. They may or may not.
Let us formalize our mutual appreciation.
There we go.
Impossible! The proposal is worse than bad poetry and would last longer.
Well, I'm glad you said
Stop
that.
making noise. The grown-ups are talking.
Oof. That's pretty harsh, but okay, we're going to make a demand.
You are aware that I am not known for my patience.
The waters are choppy instead of still. Placate them. Pay.
Ooh.
I could spit blood at this stupidity.
Okay. Well, now that that's done, I can make another request. Cannot be done, as you must resolve the ongoing demand first. Oh, they've just issued a bunch of demands. Sometimes it doesn't always update immediately. I'm going to straight up refuse their demands.
Once again, you show how inadequate you are.
Maybe I was hasty in my demands. Forget them.
I mean, I'm going to. They're already forgotten, in fact. I'm not going to forget mine,
So
however.
unhappy, accepting the inevitable.
Okay, we're forcing them into a corner with the specific goal of making it impossible for them to avoid inciting my people to the point where I can legally go to war. Whilst we're waiting, let's go ahead and upgrade our chariot archers and our spearmen to the latest technology. The spearmen over here, it's exactly the same way. There we go. And down here as well, let's get our chariot archers upgraded. Perfect. Absolutely marvelous. Okay, let's get... Can I have you move? Oh, you can't move past that unit. That's fine. And for you, go back into a wait for a couple of turns. Plain sailing has been locked by another empire. We've also got Agrarian Star. Fantastic. Now, plain sailing. What is that one? Discover a seafaring mastery. Oh, okay, fair enough. I have no idea what that is, but sure, well done. Now, we don't actually have that many more stars we would need to get the 3rd star for Agrarian. And once again, we're actually pushing hard on the stars. We may hit the next era long before our nearest competitor. Which means, if we've got plenty of room to spare, we could conceivably take our time. Okay, we're going to want to make landfall there, I imagine. Yes, we're going to have to make landfall there and then go up, I suppose. For the time being, though, let's just swoop around and see what's going on. How is Shen moving around? It's ducking back and forth along my border. That's a little bit worrisome. Okay. Shen has got an awful lot of units now. Ships. Plenty of warriors. Let's check in with Shen, actually.
Well met, friend. Well met.
Okay. Some of their strength, or some of the reasons for their strength have started to decline, which is good to see. But I am a little bit concerned. We're currently in stable positions in terms of how much they like us. Which does sound like a lot,
You should listen to
based on the way they talk, but... I can't see how that would be beneficial to you. However... They've refused the treaty. Okay, well, fair enough. Does that actually give me a... No, it doesn't. So the fact that I told them they'd have to pay for what they wanted and they refused that doesn't give either side a grievance. That's good to know. Very good to know, actually. Okay, 18 gold there. A lot of gold coming in from my my market districts. We are making 438 gold a turn. That is glorious to behold. Absolutely wonderful. Is there anywhere that I could place this district? I can't see there being anywhere. It doesn't look like, no. Okay, well, next, perhaps we could start forming another army. The other thing we could do is increase our faith. +5 faith on holy sites. Now, this is permanent. Every time I do this, it increases the cost for doing it again, but then continues to add that benefits to the holy site that exists. So we could actually build that holy site up quite a lot. Of course, there are other things that we could work on as well. For example, building up some more agrarian or some more makers' quarters. I am thinking towards the latter here. For example, we've got 30 there. We've got 37 over here. Let's go for that. Where would the next one be? Probably somewhere down here, I imagine. 35 right next to it. Okay, we'll go over there. Then agrarian, 18 food here. And another 17 over there. Let's continue to build this up very nicely. At that point, I'm afraid we're probably going to need some common quarters. +2 influence for these. An extra stability as well. For example, something here. This will eventually be completely surrounded. So let's actually pop that in there. In fact, drive it a little bit higher as well. Further to that, I will probably pop one in there as well. Let's get 2 common quarters going for this city. That will actually be very nice. Manu is developing fantastically at this point. I think I'll have you just wait for the time being. And nothing further for us in that direction. Okay, well, perhaps it's now time for us. Well, that being said, I would actually like you there because we'll be able to immediately launch an attack on their boats following the beginning of the war. On that note, how far out are we?
How can I aid you?
+5 per turn. That's not terrible, to be fair. Can't be done as you must resolve the ongoing demand. Oh, I can't make any further demands. That's interesting. I wasn't aware that basically put a complete halt on developing any further requests. Okay. Osmosis event. Another demand, unfortunately. Population loss in Darth Raptor. And in Manu. Ooh, 2 population loss in Manu. Let's go and have a look at this. Really? That's interesting. I'm surprised that actually hurt us there. It's very interesting. Okay. I'll acknowledge that one. The English trigger... Oh. That would explain why. Bloody English. My lord. Constant thorn in my side, Chen. I refuse. Yikes. It's going to take some time for it to drop that far. However, it will drop by 5% a turn. There are other things that we can do to lift it back up, but that's just unfortunate. It's incredibly unfortunate, actually. Alright, well, it is a thing. Alright, Darth Raptor, in the meanwhile, we've got an awful lot of science being produced here. 355, which I'm extremely happy about. We could continue to drive this forward. Let's do it. And then 13 there. We lose out on a bit of industry, but this is ultimately what I'm trying to gather. But with that, I'm going to say we're probably wanting some additional... commons quarters. Yes, plus 15 there. And let's have a look elsewhere. Plus 10. That wouldn't really help me at all there. I'm not really sure why it's suggesting it. Well, that being said, it doesn't necessarily know what I'm looking for, so it's understandable, I suppose, in that regard. And then we'll pop down an extra district here. That should keep our stability nice and high there. And it shouldn't take Darth Raptor long at all to build that up. Usar's population has increased. Very nice. Attitude change. The Mayans now feel differently about us, but we've got heavy infantry researched. With an emphasis on armor and heavier weapons, the presence of heavy infantry can change the battlefield. There we go. Now that has done 2 very big and important things for us. One, well, we can upgrade here, which is a bit of a shame. We'll lose the fervor and we'll lose the movement, but we will gain almost a solid 10 combat points. So we are going to do it. We're going to do it for all 3 units over here. But the other big thing that it has changed for us is it has now given us access to an extra unit in every army. To that end, I feel that let's pick one of the larger areas and we're going to upgrade you. Let's get some war elephants out there. I like you being made right now. I'll take you 1 turn. Manu, do the same. There. 1 turn for Manu as well. Eelstar's population is way too low to support that. So how about Darth Raptor? Instead, you make another swordsman. There we go. That will work well. Okay. With that, let's find out what we're going to be researching next. Now, if we went in this direction, we could pick up the hamlet. Sometimes cities need to hold sway over lands beyond the city gates, without paving every blade of grass between. This will give us a building that will act as a maker's quarters and a farmer's quarters, and will give us 1 extra worker on each of them. Research, trade, workers, and farmers. That'll be fantastic once our populations start to explode. It would also give us the tourney field, popular with the citizens who enjoy the spectacle. Tournaments are also a great means of driving down military costs. Drop on unit industry costs. That would actually not be too bad at all. Also, knights. Heavy cavalry. Fast, hard-hitting, mounted units able to charge enemies. Receive bonus combat strength if attacking non-adjacent enemies. Unable to climb fortifications, however. But we could... I believe we have the 2 iron required to do that. That being said, though, there are other options as well. Getting the Great Fish Market would give us much more money coming in. Or we could go for Manuscript Atelier. +1 science per researcher. And +2 researchers for Darth Raptor. That would be particularly nice. And the festival performers and artisans of all hues come together to inform, entertain, and astound the locals, sharing spectacles and crafts from far-flung places. This one would also give us an extra city cap, and I think that might be useful, given that we're coming up to the point where we're going to be dealing with another war and the possibility that we might want to take a city instead of leave it sat there. But I think with that, and to kind of rebalance the universe, given that the last episode was about I think it was 1 hour and 20 minutes long or something along those lines, we're going to be wrapping things up there for today. We were almost at time anyway, but I think in the very, very near future, we're going to be going to war once again. In fact, it won't take us long at all with our current +5 from ongoing demands. So in the next episode, we will hopefully be vassalizing the Aztecs. It'll give us a couple more turns just to build up our armies, move our new units down. We might even make a new army stack. But by and large, I'm going to try and focus on building out those wonderful new districts and ideally get us the 3rd Builder Star, which is going to bring us within stone's throwing distance of 2nd place in terms of fame, possibly even 1st place not long after. But I definitely feel that starting now, we're going to need to start preparing a defense for the inevitable war with Shen. We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't have to happen in the next episode, but that'll be it from me. I really do hope you've enjoyed, and if you did enjoy what you saw and you want to see more, then do consider leaving a like or a comment down below. But until next time, do take care, everyone.